The social economic system that we have, it's all based on global monetary markets. Most people may not know, and again, I have this information on my website, timeline2012.net, that describes the social economic impact. The United States right now is $93 trillion in debt. Now, that's a number you don't hear very often, and it comes from government reference numbers. These are not numbers that are made up. These are Social Security, Medicare, infrastructure repair costs, the loans to the Federal Reserve. All of this stuff adds up to $93 trillion. And this has gone on for 50 years. So how do you recover from that without raising interest rates and without causing an economic collapse? And the answer is you can't. There is no way to recover from this economic situation we've been put into except to let it collapse, and the people who are in control of that economic model know this. So besides the grid potential when we hit this electromagnetic storm, we certainly have a lot of things coming before that in the sense of economic instability, loss of jobs, loss of income, loss of ability to buy food, and we're going to experience global famine. Now, I know a lot of people would like to think, oh, we're going to change consciously enough to alter these events. And as I have often mentioned to people, the critical mass of consciousness is great, and it's important. The question is, what does that do? Are we going to manifest instantly a new government? I mean, are we just going to think one day, oh, we want a new government, and we think about the people we want into government, and all of a sudden those people are going to be sitting in the chair, not the current leaders? I mean, that's not realistic, and it's not very grounded. Certainly, if I open it for a possibility. The reality is more likely that it could take tens or even 100 years to replace the people who have created this structure with people who are not involved in the structure. That is a huge challenge in itself for the consciousness of humanity. There's enough wealth in the world. It's for everybody to live in prosperity. However, they don't want us to live in prosperity. If we live in prosperity, if we have nothing that holds us down, we have the opportunity to manifest at their level. And this is why they keep us in suffering and economic deprivation, and all of these factors is to keep our spirit from evolving. Okay, they understand the concept that like minds and harmonic consciousness coming together in any form can break down their system. They understand that. The way they control that is they keep economic chaos in the world, they keep military chaos in the world, and that serves their goal to keep the majority of people down. The world and the situation that we're in is unfortunately currently under their control. We are breaking that control by learning to grow positive and coming together in consciousness and learning to manifest in a greater level. And certainly that is showing in all the things that are going on in the world. We're talking about conscious evolution and the power to manifestation. What I've learned is that we have immediate ability to change our surrounding world, and that means how we interact with others, the decisions we make, who we elect into office, who we have in office that could start a war. I mean, if we have the ability to change these things immediately. And this is where we have to begin if we want the world not to go into chaos from social economic stress. And to be honest, we haven't done that. I mean, people may think the current president is somebody who's going to bring that upon the world. I don't see that, and as much as I wish for anybody to come up and stand up and make a difference, it just doesn't seem to be happening. And that's what we have immediate capability to do. Forget about the cosmic forces. If we think we're going to change Earth going around the celestial equator, or change it passing the galactic equator, or change it going through some super wave, I mean, that is a whole nother level of manifestation. So we got to work with what we know we can do first, and we haven't been able to achieve that. When we prove that we can change government, and we can change the way this world is managed without destroying it, then we can go beyond that and say, okay, now what else can we work on? But we haven't even done the basics, which we are supposed to have the ability to do. So it may be that we don't have the critical mass. It may be that there just aren't enough spiritual people. It may be that our powers just aren't developed enough. But certainly the economic chaos that's coming, in my opinion, would take a long time to get those people changed in office to stop it. Okay, because this economic collapse is right around the corner. The power grid issue might only be 2 years off, but that's more of a physical issue than it is a management of our planet. Spiritual and physical preparation and a fear related to the concepts of 2012 are very important. A lot of people, if they're new to this information on 2012, if they're new to the potentials, if they're new to the possibilities of things which are coming potentially within the next 2 years, if you haven't heard it before, the first sense is fear, shock, total shock. Disbelief maybe is first, and then it goes into shock and fear. Of course, what I've learned through my spiritual evolution is that fear is, of course, the mind killer. It's what keeps us from manifesting positive and moving in the positive direction of consciousness and learning how to harmonize with other people and manifest at greater levels. So fear is certainly something that everybody should be addressing on a personal level. How do you do that? Well, what I've learned is that when you understand a thing, two things happen. First, you no longer fear it. And second, it no longer controls you. Now, fear and control are what exactly pull you away from your ability to manifest positively and live your life of peace and harmony. Fear and control are how the powers that be control the masses. So, as you can tell, if you understand even their agenda, if you understand what's coming, if you understand why, if you understand what we can do and what we may not have the power to do at this moment, then you overcome those fears. And you also overcome how they manipulate your activities, which fears will manipulate people's activities. So it's very healthy on the spiritual level, of course, to address those fears and to learn more and to understand things and not be in denial just because we don't want it to happen, which that can happen as well. On the physical level, of course, in order to go through these processes of the potentials for 2012, besides the spiritual component, the most important other component is having health, ideal health, because we may be changing food sources, food types. In other words, we go raw vegan, that's one option. And of course, everybody knows that going raw or vegetarian has cured people of cancer. So it's not a huge surprise that this is a potentially very healthy diet. On the physical level, of course, getting into optimal balance. If you got physical ailments, work on getting them cured in a homeopathic and natural way, and of course always from within. On the dietary side, very important to start adjusting your diet for the potentials of not having the resources we have today, not being able to go shopping, not being able to have access to meat. All of those things are very important. Other parts of the physical, of course, are preparation. I mean, if you believe the things that, even just some of the things that are described as potentially coming as a result of this changes in our solar system, changes in Earth, then if you want to live in harmony or in peace, it's prudent to take some actions. And I tell people there's two forms of existence, and that's tolerable and intolerable. Tolerable existence to me is the only option. Intolerable existence to me is not doing anything, avoiding the potentials, avoiding what would appear to be facts and truths, and just hoping that you're going to be in the right place at the right time. Because if you do that, you may not be in the right place at the right time. We all have choices, and our choices determine what happens in our lives. So if you choose not to believe, if you choose to ignore, then you may choose to do nothing. If you choose that some of these potentials are real and believable, then you may choose to take action. And that's what I've done. And part of that action is to create the websites to help educate people. And it doesn't matter if they believe in what I've written and believe in what I've researched. It's important that everybody come to their own level of belief. And that is the most important aspect of what I try to do, is give people information, let them assimilate it, and then make up your own mind. And of course, that's on a spiritual level as well. You can only provide somebody with the tools. You can't make them use them or learn them. So, of course, everything is based on what we believe and the choices we make based on those beliefs. The websites, and I have a ton of YouTube videos, are for people to use as a foundation for their own decision.